107.5.
And it's time for us to say a very good morning to Mr. Nico Kleynhans. Thank you for your time, sir.
Good morning. The theme today was triggered by somebody who runs a business. I'm not sure how much longer he's going to run it, but he runs a business. And he put on Facebook that he is angry that government is stealing money. And what he has done is to go to his tax practitioner and say, at the end of this month, I will not pay over my VAT to SARS because SARS steals. Now, he put that on Facebook.
Ooh, not a good idea.
Now, for those of you who are running your business, let me explain about VAT. When I issue an invoice, I charge you VAT. That VAT is your taxes. It's not my taxes. I keep it for SARS, and then every 2 months, I return to SARS what belongs to SARS. So what this man is saying is SARS steals. And my solution is I'm going to steal your taxes and do exactly the same that SARS is doing. So
that's a
be
problem.
Careful what you put on Facebook, because he's admitted he's going to commit a crime. He's admitted he's going to steal. And if I were his customers, I would say, give me my money back. You have no right to steal my money. That's not how it works.
Yeah.
Okay. The next question is, when we talk about government, it is important that you understand we have 3 levels of government. The government can be the city, it can be the province, and it can be national government. Most of us are angry with electricity delivery.
Yeah.
So we are angry with government.
And that's a national government.
That is a national
state-owned enterprise.
So the question is, do we have a right to refuse to pay taxes? Now, Jesus actually answered that question.
Yeah, Jesus had a very interesting answer with regard to that, because the disciples and the people came and they questioned him. The people of the day said, Jesus, what about this thing? And what Jesus said was, pay unto Caesar what belongs to Caesar, i.e. the government, pay to them what is due to them.
Yes. And now the question then is, did Jesus say that because the Roman government was not corrupt? The Roman government was probably the most corrupt government of the day.
Sure.
And how do we know that? Was because Jesus met with tax collectors. He went to a party with them.
He did.
And what did he say to them? Stop stealing.
Sure.
And not only stop stealing, you've got to hand back what you stole.
Yeah. So pay back the money, basically.
So Christ clearly does not approve of corruption, but he doesn't necessarily give us permission to withhold taxes because we see corruption around us.
So then there is corruption in our country. We all can see it. We see Eskom is failing. We see other state-owned enterprises failing. What do we as Christians then do if we shouldn't be holding back our taxes? What do we do? How do we change this?
Well, I tell you what the Bible doesn't tell us to do. In the old days of the apartheid government, the dominees where I used to go to church would preach and say, God instructs us to pray for the government. That was their first argument. The second argument was, that means God wants that government to be ruling. Thirdly, if you criticize that government, you are criticizing God. That was how their argument went. That is not what the Bible is saying. The Bible gives us an instruction. We have to pray for government. It is not saying that government can do no wrong. It is not saying that government cannot be criticized. In fact, the government also gets an instruction from God. And that instruction is, you've got to look after the vulnerable, the widows, the orphans, and the foreigners. Did you know that? So we cannot, as South Africans, say, let's kick out the Zimbabweans. That is anti-scriptural. They are foreigners. They need to be protected. We cannot say, as some cabinet ministers have said, you can't come to our hospitals because you're not South Africans.
Sure.
Doesn't matter what it costs us. The Bible is clear. The government of the day has to protect all of us. Now, whether that is the city, the province, or national government. So when I look at government, I'm saying, does my city look after the homeless? Does my city care for the vulnerable? Does my city do what God's instruction is? When I look at province, does my province carry out the instructions from government, from God? Does my national government carry out the instructions? And if it doesn't do that, what then am I supposed to do as a Christian?
That's a very...
I can't sit in front of TV and moan and think that is what God expects of me.
True story.
Can't do that.
It's not going to help anything.
Can't. I have to firstly start repairing what the government isn't doing. So that means as Christians, we are called to get our hands dirty. We can go onto the streets. We should be going onto the streets. And one of the things that I think we have as voters is that we have a proportional system in South Africa. If you can just get 10 of your friends to register and to vote, I don't care who they vote for. I don't even care if they spoil their vote. But because of the proportional system, the ruling party will always be punished when enough voters start voting. You do have more power than you think. But we cannot do what a lot of people are doing now and saying this political party only serves the devil. That is not a helpful approach to do. But we certainly should be holding all of our leaders, regardless of the political party, to the standards that we have as Christians, and we can't just criticize. We have to get our hands dirty. We need to rescue our country. It's in a mess. We shouldn't be struggling like this with power that is plain negligence and corruption. We shouldn't be struggling in a lot of other areas. But we have to take the power and we have to exercise it as Christians.
Sure. Thank you, Nico. As always, quite a lot to think about, and it is very much about us, each and every one of us, doing something. So thank you for driving that home for us this morning.